there is an aspect of Charlie Kirk's death that I just haven't seen anyone talking about. And first, I want to say personally, I believe his death is very sad and tragic, and that political violence doesn't benefit anyone. I believe in the long run, it really hurts all of us. What I'm seeing is a night and day difference between the way my white Christian friends are responding to this and the way my black Christian friends are responding to his assassination. My white Christian friends are treating this like the death of a martyr or a saint. And my black Christian friends are pointing out that, hey, this is sad, but the man was an unapologetically racist and very dishonest individual who did a lot of damage in the political realm. And I've seen all the clips to back up their claims, and you should too if you haven't. They really are horrible. And I wonder if it's because the way the algorithm works, that white people just didn't see this side of him, or if they saw it and ignored it. But we can't ignore it. We have to call it out for what it is and to denounce it in strongest terms, because to cover racism and Christian ideology like Charlie Kirk and Trump and so many others do, it is a sin as old as this nation, and it's literally what has kept us divided as Christians and otherwise for 400 years.
So, wanted to start off with a liberal perspective about this whole thing, and I'm gonna call on somebody. Let me see who I can call on to get this started, and then it's literally pop up, and so anybody can say whatever it is that they want to say. I'm gonna start off with RM because he's not looking at the screen. RM, what are your thoughts on what the young Caucasian snow hair just said about the difference between how the majority of white Christian friends versus black Christian friends are responding to Charlie Kirk's death?
So far, what I've seen, he's correct, but I just want to make something clear. I'm not liberal, so maybe you want to call somebody else. But
no, I'm not necessarily speaking on. It doesn't matter what side of the political spectrum. Just your perspective in general.
My perspective is, I just think that not enough people really understand what they're talking about, maybe on both sides, but in particular, what he was saying about like how, I guess, black Christians don't believe that he's a martyr. I'm curious as to why they don't think he's a martyr. Like, why wouldn't he be a martyr? He literally is a martyr based off of what just happened. So how is he not a martyr?
Well, I think one of the reasons why people that don't necessarily agree with the rhetoric of Charlie Kirk is saying that is because they actually think that he is racist or he was negative towards black people or gay people or anything like that, right? And so because of that, they believe that he didn't really die for a greater cause. He just needed to be, you know what I'm saying? His rhetoric was it was bad for everybody.
Like he was a grifter or something like that?
No, they just don't agree with what he was saying.
When was he ever racist?
Like what? Yeah, that's another question I was going to ask. Is like, what made him? Why do they think he's racist? Like, what did he?
Because he held black people accountable.
I think a lot of it is definitely out of context too, and it's just a lot of it is clipped up. I remember watching just yesterday a video, and it was he doesn't believe in empathy, and they cut it off right there. And if you watch the whole video, he goes off to say, but I rather the word sympathy. So it's like stuff like that where they just cut it off and just to push a narrative. So that's what I see.
Yeah, I think he just believed that, people are people, and you can't keep falling back, no offense, but on the race card and saying, poor me. You got to take responsibility for your life and do better. That was his message.
No matter who you are. What about meism that's going on? It's like, what about people in Palestine? What about the people in Ukraine? What about what just happened? Okay, wrap this up. I guess a black man was found hanging from a tree today. It's like, let's wrap this up. Let's focus on that. What about this? Well, he said this. It's like, can you not just take the time to have sympathy? Maybe not empathy, because what he was saying, I think, was it Terry that was saying that? What he was getting to also was that nobody will truly know how it is that the other person feels, and that empathy was being politicized by people like Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, and just overall in politics. But of course, that goes against their narrative, and they have to go with, oh, well, I'm not going to have empathy for him. Unless you know exactly what it is that man has gone through, or exactly what it is that his family is going through right now, you won't know. The only people that can even kind of relate would be, and I know people are up in arms about this, would be the King family, would be the Kennedys, because they experienced somebody, they have somebody in their family who was assassinated. Other than that, nobody else can know what it is that those families are grieving at this point and give your sympathy, not empathy, because there's a difference.
I will say though, I believe the vast majority of people, whether it be white or black, are kind of understand what's going on, and for me, it's just fringe groups that kind of make everything more dramatic, in my opinion.
They're very loud.
Yeah, they're just very loud. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't believe, Terry, that the majority of people, for example, let's take black people. Do you believe that the majority of black people actually dislike Charlie Kirk or like Charlie Kirk?
I wouldn't say like. I would say the vast majority can process the information and separate it from their feelings and say, all right, yeah, I can agree with that. Whether it makes them feel good or not, I think the vast majority of Americans in general, even black people, can separate their feelings from facts. Like everyone can kind of see like what he's saying is true. I mean, how many people do we have online, black, speaking against the community? Not against, but pointing out the flaws in the community and stuff like that. But all of a sudden, if a white guy does it, then it's an issue. So I think we all know what's going on, but those fringe people are just going to be the loudest people speaking out.
I don't believe that, Terry.
Yeah,
I don't believe that.
Can we just quit?
Well, go ahead, Nikki.
Can we? Why were you keeping it cute? Like, seriously though, we already know what's going on. Have these people done? They do not know what's going on. I've heard of Charlie Kirk. They not researching until now. They dumb. And you know they dumb. So I'm at the point now where I don't even want to listen to them. They don't know what Charlie Kirk stood for. They don't. They couldn't, because I like Charlie Kirk, and I haven't even heard everything Charlie Kirk said. So I know you haven't. So how all of a sudden now, just like everything, they let the media tell them what to think, what to do, how to move, what seasoned chicken to eat, all this silly stuff. They dumb. It's period, point blank. Like all this keeping it cute. I am so over them, and I'm almost disgusted, and I'm tired of.
Yeah, if you ask them,
I might have to backtrack.
Almost disgusted. I am disgusted.
I mean, I am disgusted, but I'm trying to leave room for growth. But I'm to the point where I'm trying not to have an evil heart. So
it's despicable.
I have to keep that balance, because after this, I really feel. I am disgusted with our community. Like they just
why are y'all disgusted? Why y'all disgusted? I don't understand.
Because they brain so
I'm
smooth.
disgusted. I'm disgusted because I literally had a back and forth on Facebook about this, with everybody coming at me, calling me coons, this, that, and the third, white people lover, all this, that, and the third. They came down on me, on my back. Everybody unfriended me, this, that, and the third. Who cares? Like this, like I'm just so over the fact you're celebrating and glorifying a man's death. Like he was killed in front of hundreds of people, in front of his wife, his kids. It's just like it lacks humanity. They lack humanity. It's just despicable. It's evil. And it's just like, I can't even. You just gotta shake your head. It's crazy.
A lot of what I've been seeing is just herd mentality too. Like there's a girl I had a conversation with who literally grew up in the same church that I grew up. So we've been hearing these conservative viewpoints, growing up all our lives. And I saw her make a post, and I commented. I'm like, didn't we grow up in the same church? Like what do you mean these are radical ideologies? Like we grew up listening to this. Like what are you talking about? But I guess it made for a good post and engagement. And she's like, well, I agree with what you're saying, but just to give credence to the opposite side and stuff like that. I'm just like, all right.
Mario, what are your thoughts on this, Mario? You don't have to be afraid either.
Oh no, I'm not afraid. I was just listening to everybody. I think we're all on the same page here. Is death, because I was watching it live, not necessarily live, but I got the updates kind of as soon as it happened. His death affected me a lot. I've been listening to Charlie maybe 8-9 years now. And he stood for a lot of things that I believe in. I'm a Christian first, and that really gets my community upset if I put my Bible believing beliefs in front of my race. I lost a lot of followers during this past election season, when they came like publicly known, and I was going on lives defending conservative values and telling people why I vote the way I do. Aaliyah, kind of the same thing. Everybody calls me coon. Am I married to a white woman? Like, different stuff. But I think his death affected me the most, um, because if you're spiritual or have the Holy Spirit, you could tell there was a huge shift, because what he believed first was Jesus, and then he backed whatever he believed up, with the law. So he didn't believe in single parent households. He was like, hey, Black community, you'll be better off with having the Father in the home. And the Bible says all good and perfect gifts coming down from above from the Father of lights. Like, you need a father. And then after that, he started saying you shouldn't look to the government to be your daddy. God is the Father. Like, he'll take care of you. You just need to trust him. That's not always easy. So it was a huge thing in my community, my like inner community, this immediate community. We all love Charlie. I think
Let me
Frozen. Okay.
No, you cool. Dalen, let me get your thoughts on this.
Well, first, I'll say that, excuse me if my voice is a little ragged, I'm getting over a cold. But let me say that when I first opened X, that was the first thing that I saw, a tweet that Charlie Kirk was shot. They didn't say anything about the state that he was in until I kept scrolling. Okay, he's stable. And then I kept scrolling, he's pronounced dead. I immediately dropped my phone, and for some reason, what I found later on, like many others, I began to bawl as if I knew this guy. And I think that it was because no one is ever supposed to see something like this, especially for our generations. We're used to reading about assassinations. All those college students, they only read about stuff like this and saw videos of it, but to witness it, it's not just seeing someone murdered, but someone assassinated in front of you. It could have been anybody. I will say that I think that what we're seeing now is they're making this a race battle, like a race war. And I think that there are a lot of, for lack of better words, white people who say that he's a racist because they have this white guilt and they want to align themselves with the Black community. They want to share their history of being a victim, or should I say our ancestors of being victims. They want to have some sort of allegiance or alliance, but they see you as, as victims. It's almost like they see you as inferior, like you need my whiteness to help you, otherwise you won't amount to anything. And we also see a lot of Black people they truly think that if you're white, you're automatically a racist, because a lot of these people don't even know that there were more white people who aren't even descendants of slave owners or any people who believed in segregation. I think it's disgusting. We have been shown in real time just how much vermin is amongst us. And it's not about, wanting someone dead. We're watching people glorify the act of murder, not just someone who lost their life. And I think for individuals that celebrate murder, especially in this capacity, are people that understand that you will never beat the truth. You will never intimidate people out of the truth. You cannot lie your way, to get people to dismiss the truth. So when you can't beat them, when you don't want to join them, now it's time to kill you. And I think we have exposed a lot of people in our own circles. And I think Mario and Aaliyah, you all said that you lost followers. No, you didn't. You lost snakes in your grass. You got people that are going to unfollow you and call you names because you have the compassion and the power of the Holy Spirit in your heart that lets you know you will not champion and glorify something just because you were disagreed with someone or agreed with something that people are claiming is racist. This is how you know people have not watched Charlie Kirk. They are used to reading headlines because there are too many words in an actual article. For lack of better words, knees that grow get intimidated by a lot of words put together. So they're not interested. And I'm just flat out disgusted. I haven't posted about it or spoken about it. I had a political battle with a family member over the weekend, obliterated her, God bless her soul. But I just can't. I have turned back to my faith. For a while, I've been a heathen. And this opened my eyes. And now I am back on the journey of my faith because I fear far too often. And I know that we have a lot of work to do to get our country back to where it needs to be. So those are my thoughts.
Can I say something towards that, Anton, what Dalen just said
say
on
whatever y'all
going
wanna
back to
say.
church? So, because while you was talking, I was remembering, so I went on X, and it's funny that you said that you turned back to your faith. So I was reading about it. So apparently, I guess he had like 1 million or so, 2 million or so followers. It surged up to like 10 million. But they said there was a surge Sunday after his assassination of people going back to church. So I went to the comments, and it was so many people saying, some of them saying how they never even believed in God, but for some reason they just wanted to go to church. So I think that's amazing. And if anything come out of that, and I'm so happy for you and proud of you because ain't nothing like it.
I will say I don't with that, I don't think that people have to go to church. And I only say this because watching Jamal Bryant, that spiritual crook, so many spiritual crooks walking out here using a pulpit as some political strong arm. How dare those? I have to be very mindful about my words because of the new
Be a Christian.
I'm working into that part too.
Girl, please, you better meet them demons where they at. I don't play that no more. I used to be nice like that.
Right, because I can really get like that verbally if I need to. But I just can't believe this is one of the reasons why the Black community has been so stagnant, not only in population, but in intellectual standard. You're letting this man tell you someone was racist, not because they can prove that they were racist, but because they're white. You're teaching our youth and everybody else that if you're white, you're automatically racist. They don't even know what racism is. They just think, well, if you're not Black, you must not like my Black ass. Excuse my French. And I just don't understand it. You ask these people, describe racism. What is racism? I don't know if you all know who I Show Speed is. He's this like big time streamer. And I'll make this brief because I don't want to go too off topic. I saw racism live. A white man was selling a car for like $70,000. And we all know these streamers have the money. He was going to give him the money outright, but he was so standoffish. He wouldn't talk to him. He wouldn't look at him. So his cameramen and people had to say, bruh, he's selling the car. He just don't want to sell it to you because you're Black. And I'm like, if you want to know what racism looks like, that's what it looks like. That a white person could be in a financial bind, but they would stay there because they would be damned if they take green dollars from a Black man. So if you want to see what racism looks like, you can definitely see what it looks like. But to be
you would say that's racism?
I think that it absolutely is to treat someone like they cannot have eye contact, like you cannot talk to them, that they don't deserve your words, your body language. That I do think that interaction that I saw live was racism, but people think that racism has to be violent. And I don't think that it does. I think being racist can be, passive in a sense, to the point where someone doesn't know that this individual maybe is prejudiced or biased against you, because they obviously need to sell this car. If you're selling this type of vintage car, you're in a financial bind. And this guy is saying,
that's not necessarily true. That's not true. That's not true.
He could have just been a rude person. He could have just been ignorant and stupid. Why does it have to go straight to race?
Or he didn't want to sell his car.
Here's my thing. I think
He's
that
done.
racist is probably the most overused word, one of the most overused words out today. I don't think that just because somebody don't sell something to you or they don't want to do business with you or they don't take you serious, I don't by default think that the person is racist or prejudiced or biased or any of that type of stuff.
Well, I think
I don't believe that.
when you have context, see, I'm not just going based off of what somebody told me. This
No,
is
I
something
looked at the video too. I'm familiar with it. I just don't think that he took him serious because he just thought that he was a young kid.
and you
I
know
don't
what?
think it had anything to do with racism. I don't think it had anything to do with any of
And
that.
I think that is your right to believe that. But if someone can, in my personal opinion, identify racism as they know what it is, they can say, okay, that's what that is, versus being spoon fed. This is racism. This is racism. This is racism. Just because white people are involved, then we have a problem. Of course, there are people that are still going to practice prejudice in the name of racism. But I point that out because if you want to know what it looks like when someone is mistreating you or doing something to you or against you because of the color of your skin, there are cameras everywhere. You can see in real time what it looks like, so you don't conflate or be easily manipulated into thinking that every interaction with a white person, is a racist thing.